Let's talk about which one of these playoff drivers does not make the playoffs in 2024. Which one of these drivers in this list do you think misses next year's playoffs?
Ryan Blaney.
Come on, man.
It's my last show. I'm going to go out.
Okay.
I'm going to pick a fight. No, for real. Does not make it.
All right, let's move on to 2024. Way too early predictions. Who's your champion?
My champion for 2024 is James Dennis Hamlin.
All right. Oh, man. I'm going to go with Blaney back-to-back.
It has served you well all the way up until now. Don't jump off the train now.
Why is it funny that I picked the current champion? I mean,
He's going Blaney.
He just proved he could do it.
Predicting the champion in February, not enough. He's doing it in November of the previous year.
Who's next year's breakout star?
Ty Gibbs.
I'm going to say that next year's breakout star I'm gonna say that it's Ty Gibbs. Yeah. I want to go with like a Zane Smith or Josh Berry, John Hunter Nemechek, but I just don't know that the cars and I think Ty Gibbs is in a Gibbs car. Their stuff runs in the top 5 a lot, and I think he's just trying to get there. So I think you're right, Mike.
All the way up until now. Don't jump off the train now.
Why is it funny that I picked the current champion? I mean,
He's going Blaney.
He just proved he could do it.
Predicting the champion in February, not enough. He's doing it in November of the previous year.
Who's next year's breakout star?
Ty Gibbs.
I'm going to say that next year's breakout star I'm gonna say that it's Ty Gibbs. Yeah. I want to go with like a Zane Smith or Josh Berry, John Hunter Nemechek, but I just don't know that the cars and I think Ty Gibbs is in a Gibbs car. Their stuff runs in the top 5 a lot, and I think he's just trying to get there. So I think you're right, Mike. Overachiever. Who overachieves? Who will be the surprise?
This year?
Overachiever. Next year.
Next
year, buddy. We're 24 now.
Yeah.
Looking forward. We're going to continue to look forward for the next 10 minutes.
Okay. I don't know if this counts, but you tell me if it does. I think that RFK will do a better job next year. I think Buescher and Keselowski will win.
I like it. All right.
Well, what's yours?
I know. I'm thinking.
Oh, okay.
Overachiever. Man. I think that John Hunter Nemechek may overachieve. I kind of like the move the team's making manufacturer-wise. They'll be getting a little support through the other successful teams. It'll be a little motivation for them to do that for John Hunter. The crew chief that he's got coming up with him. I just feel like that's setting him up to do that one kind of, I don't want to use the word fluke, but freak win,
Yeah.
where kind of, that one surprise win, kind of like a McDowell at Indy. I could see John Hunter sort of sneaking in one, and throwing the whole playoff field into a tizzy there.
I've got an honorable mention.
Okay.
Justin Haley sold me on what Rick Ware Racing is doing when he was here, and I'm now keenly watching what they do. I'm not saying they're going to go off and make playoffs or anything, but we're talking about overachieving. Yep. Rick Ware Racing, what we expect of them is not a lot, right? Yep. I'm interested to see what Justin Haley can do for them. If they can start stringing together some top 20s, something like that, a couple here and there, I mean, that would be overachieving.
Yep. Underachiever. Who is going to drop off? This is a tough one, man. You got to hurt somebody's feelings here.
All right. You want me to do I'll do it. I don't like doing it. It doesn't feel good. Truex.
Really? Okay. What if they underachieved this year? Can they continue to be an underachiever?
I think they could continue to
Then
decline.
I'll say Austin Cindric. I mean, the two cars, iconic. It's just the Miller High Life car for years. It's just been this car, right? And he's just not been able to really get it going. I'm hoping they make the changes necessary in the offseason to figure out what it is that Austin Cindric needs. I think Austin Cindric can do it if he gets the situation around him to make him successful. But so far it's been nothing great. Outside of that Daytona 500 win, is there a memorable finish?
No.
Right? So that I think eventually you got to say, look, man, this guy's on the hot seat, right? It's like when the pressure is he probably already feeling the pressure, right? But when do the rest of us start to say, is the pressure on this guy or what? I think it's next year, right?
I wonder if you have other drivers that you feel like next year is their make or break year. Like, for instance, Harrison Burton.
I watch Harrison. I know I watch Harrison because Burton's standing in the booth right next to me. Harrison runs as good as the other Penske cars. Now, obviously, he didn't win a championship. Blaney won a championship in a Penske car, but he often outruns the two, or at least outfinishes him, and sometimes measures up or is right sort of below or underneath Logano throughout the year. There's just time. If you're watching him qualifying, practice, in the race, you can see how he is kind of carrying his weight. Like he deserves a little more of a leash here, a little longer runway.
Let me give you one more name. Okay. What does Corey LaJoie need to show in 2024?
They just need to keep Corey and this whole team keeps making these advancements from top 25s, top 20s. Okay, now they're kind of flirting with that top 15. I think that's who they need to be next year. Corey and this team need to be a 10th to 15th place car weekly. That would probably be their expectation, their hope.
I like that.
All right. How do you think the new faces of 2020 are going to fare? You mentioned a few. Daniel Hemrick is coming into back into the Cup Series with Colleague. And Ty Dillon's going over there to run the second car. And so those cars struggled so badly at Phoenix. I mean, it was not good. I think this is going to be a very difficult year on the Cup side for Colleague.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know that that's a big surprise to anybody. Josh Berry in the 4-car for Stewart-Haas Racing. Hey, I'm a Josh Berry fan. Y'all know that. I'm wanting it to go well. There will be, Kevin said it yesterday in the interview, there will be some moments of struggle. There will be times when Josh Berry's going, dude, do I have what it takes? Do I belong here? Do I have the fortitude to go forward, right? And there'll be some dark moments in that first year. There are for every driver. But I hope to see enough. And so I'll give them that long runway. This first year really isn't about becoming ultra competitive. It's more about showing glimpses of what they can be down the road, right? You at least need to do that. You at least need to have those few bright pops where you're like, oh, shoot, man, they had a great run today. Man, if they could do that regularly, that's what you need to hear at least once or twice throughout the season for this 4-car.
Yeah, especially for just team chemistry. Like in that shop, those are the people that really start to get dejected a lot. Yeah, I agree with everything you said, and I hope to see it as well. Carson
Hocevar in the 77 Spire car. Carson, aside from turning the 40 or the 54 at Martinsville, Carson does not wreck people on purpose in a Cup car. I think that is intentional. I believe that he knows in the Cup Series that they will bite back, and I think that he will be less likely to make those type of foolish decisions behind the wheel of the Cup car. But I do see it potentially happening again, and I do believe that the Cup Series, directors, drivers, everybody involved, will help straighten out that problem for him. And how will he run in this second Spire car? The only thing that we can base that off of is how he's drove in the 42, which I think he runs very well in that car. I watched him at Phoenix. He drove that car up into the top 20 and hung around all day. Didn't cause any problems and did really well with a team that's trying just to get to the end of the year. But this 77 Spire car with Ty Dillon driving it all year has sort of struggled. Ty has done his absolute best with what he's been given, but I really don't know how to handicap the car. Is it as good as the one that Corey LaJoie drives? I do not know. Is it secondhand equipment? Is there less money invested? I can only guess. And so it's hard to handicap the 77 car that Carson's going to be driving. But I have to assume that Carson and Carson's future demands that the car is competitive. And so I will not be surprised to see Carson Hocevar push Corey LaJoie. Drive Corey LaJoie forward. That's what I believe will happen. Carson's going to have these moments where he outruns Corey, and Corey finds more in himself, which is good. That's what you need from your teammate.
Yeah, I'm so conflicted on Carson Hocevar, especially after, you made me think on Tuesday that there's nothing short of an exorcism that's going to have to be required to get him right. So, but there's one thing that we can all agree on. He's, insanely talented, man. He can drive a race car.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I guess we'll just have to wait and see, right?
Zane Smith's driving for a sort of Spire Trackhouse effort. It's a Spire car, but with support from Trackhouse, whatever. I think that he's going to have a career similar to Gilliland, or not a career, but a season similar to Gilliland, who is the teammate of McDowell. Look, I have to look hard to see the improvements in a team like that.
Yeah.
Right? Their improvements are minimal. They're there, but you really have to be paying attention to them throughout the season to see it. I don't know that Zane is going to have these bright spots. I think you'll have to stare intently at his Cup year that's coming up to be able to really understand if he's having good moments, if there's where's the potential, all those things. This is a third car for whatever this is, Spire Trackhouse. It's still the third effort from either organization, right? They're both coming together to sort of support this. And the third car of any 3-car team is they got an A, a B, and a C. And I don't care if it's Hendrick or Penske. Not every car gets all of the best stuff, right? It's impossible to really have A+ stuff all across the board in engineers, every piece, not physical. I'm not talking about tangible pieces. So, it'll be a difficult year for Zane. His patience will be tested, and I don't know that there'll be a lot to look back on in terms of stats and so forth to go, to be ultimately thrilled about. It's just going to be a tough, long year of learning.
Sure, but in on the flip side of that, if they do have flashes where they're noticeable, everything you just said makes it even more like Todd Gilliland stood out to me this year.
He did.
And otherwise he never would have.
This is third year?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
It's not his first year.
That's
that
true.
First year, you had to look through the weeds to find his ass. Yeah,
that's fair. That's fair.
So, John Hunter Nemechek going into the 42 Legacy Motorsports Motor Club car. I just said it. I think he's one of those that I could see him popping off some shock win. Using not just going out there and running up front and leading every lap. I'm just saying running good enough to do something strategy wise that it backs him into a win. I think that he'll have days where he struggles, where he runs 30th. Then they'll have a day where he'll run 12th. It'll be a little bit of this hot and cold, and that's just how it's going to go for him.